Well, hello everybody. This is Diane from Stamping with Diane in Innisfil, Ontario, Canada. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I love to share tips and tricks with you. So today's projects are going to be little peekaboo cards, and this is a kind of a fun one with a fun fold inside. And my cards today are featuring a couple of items in the upcoming celebration, which starts on January 5th and runs right through all of January and all of February. So the two things that I'm going to be featuring today is I'm going to use the Adorable Owls stamp set, as well as the Dandy Designs Designer Series paper. This is a fantastic package because it's 48 sheets of 12 by 12 inch designer paper, just with quite neutral designs that are perfect for all of your occasions all year long. Okay, so we've got some bold colors and some really great neutral prints that will work for all of your crafting needs. All right, so let's get started. We are using a card base that is our regular 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and I am scoring it at the center at 4 1/4 mark, running with my scoring tool here. I'm also going to be using a piece of the designer paper from the Dandy Designs suite, and it has this gorgeous Coastal Cabana and Balmy Blue, or just the Coastal Cabana side. So I'm going to feature this side of the paper. I'm going to feature some Coastal Cabana with it. And so I've cut this one just at the 4 by 5 1/4 mark, which is going to go on our front. And then I've layered that. I'm going to be matting that with just about 1/8 of an inch larger around the outside. Then I also will have a piece of white that is at the 4 by 5 1/4, a little bit smaller than that, and a larger piece of our Coastal Cabana. This one measures 8 1/8 by our 5 3/8. Okay, 5 3/8. Now I'm scoring it, sliding it through, scoring it at the 4 inch mark, and then also, sorry, I've already done it for you, but anyway, I should have started from this side. I'm scoring it at the 2 inch, slide it across to the 4 inch, score again, and then you're going to have this piece left over. And this is going to fit with our white card base, our white insert, okay? Then this is going to do, we're going to do a kind of a Z fold on this. So we're going to fold it inside itself, give it a nice crease with your bone folder, and then fold the 2 inch mark back on itself, and again, crease it nicely. So now that I've got it at that point, I'm going to be using liquid glue today for this, and just a nice light bit of liquid glue, not too close to the edge, but close enough that it allows me a wee bit of wiggle room here. And it also, by not going right to the edge, I'm not worried about the glue squirting out the edges and leaving a clear glue mark. So this is going to be our insert. And now on this front piece, before I adhere these together, we're going to use a little trick. So I'm just pulling out a glue dot. This is a leftover from a paper pumpkin kit. Our regular glue dots would work just as well. And just kind of in the central area, I'm just putting a glue dot down there to hold these two layers in place. Okay, so there's my glue dot, and it's just holding that in place. Now, the reason I want to do that is I'm coming in now with my layering circles dies, and you can choose whatever sizes you wish, but with our layering circles, we've got the plain circle and the scalloped circle that as the title says, layer together. Now I want to cut through both of these layers. So I have this specifically on top of my my all-purpose trimmer so that I can see my grid lines and that I can line this up. So I can see this is my 2-inch, which is about the center, right where the bone folder is. So I'm sliding that over so it's kind of central there. And we can see that we've got, yeah, that centered around the outside. Now, I've used this washi tape more than once, so it's not super sticky, and I don't press it in too much. I'm just letting it gently hold that ring in place so that I can pick this up now. I'll take it off camera and run it through my die cut and emboss machine and be right back. So I have run this through and our dies are strong enough, our machine is strong enough that it will cut these 2 layers at the same time. So here I go, I'm just going to really gently pry this washi tape off. Now remember I said I've used this washi tape more than once because you do want to take some of the stickiness off. A way you can do that is just by putting it onto your skin a couple of times just to make it a little bit less sticky. Okay, so now this is going to be our front layer, but in order to make this a true peekaboo card, I would like to find, this was the layer, the die that I used, so I'd like to find the next smallest to go inside. Now you can decide, you could make it quite a bit smaller or just a little bit smaller. So this looks like the circle that I need, and then I'm matching with the, there it is, the layering circle, and it's hardly going to show this scalloped around the outside, but that will show. So I'm choosing the balmy blue to pick up the blue in our front page for the scallop circle, and then I'm going to layer a white circle on top. And here we have it. So that's just going to sit inside our card like so. Okay, before I continue with gluing all this together, let's do a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to slide these things out of our way and I'll get our stamp sets. Now with the adorable owls, we have, as the title says, 3 different adorable owl shapes here, images, and I'm going to use the one that's kind of flying here. And I want to stamp it onto this circle. It might go off a wee bit, and I'm okay with that. And I'm stamping it in our Memento Black, coming down from the top. I want to get his face on there, and if I miss a little bit of his feet, that's okay. There we go. Okay, a little bit, missed a little bit of the eye there. That's all right. Now I'm going to bring in some of my stamping blends, and let's do a bit of coloring. So starting with our Cajun Craze here, I'm going to give him a little Cajun Craze beak, and a little bit of his feet that are showing. I'm going to put those in Cajun Craze as well. And let's do his eyes in the very soft, this is the So Saffron, the light. And I'm just going to do the inside of his eyes here with the light So Saffron. And now let's layer up with, I've pulled out the light gray granite, a light crumb cake, and the dark crumb cake. And I also have the light soft suede. So I think I'll do his belly a little bit lighter, possibly. Let's start with this one. The reason I really love these markers is I can change up my mind and change the colors as I go if I'm not quite liking the way it's turning out. So I'm going to do his head here in this light crumb cake and the belly in the light crumb cake. And I'd like to do the very dark here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of detail around his wings and kind of where the belly meets into the wings. A few little details. Maybe we'll give him a little bit of dark around the eyes. I don't know if I'm calling it a him. Maybe it's a her. It doesn't really matter. This is an adorable little owl. So just putting a little bit of this, as I say, it's the light, soft suede. We'll mark around his eyes a little bit. And now I'm going to pull in with the next darkest shade that I've chosen and start to blend some of that in. And you can see that the colors are starting to mix here, but I haven't filled everything in yet. And now I'm going to bring in one of the lighter ones. I've got the crumb cake here. Oh, sorry, that's the one I used before, isn't it? Let's come in with some of the gray. Let's do the gray around his belly. I think I'm going to change my mind. I love that you can just keep blending these colors one on top of the other. And now the crumb cake is going to blend together. I'm just using a bit of a circular motion here. And now he's got some different tones here. I'll come in with, that was the darkest one, wasn't it? Let's come with a little, oh, maybe that was the darkest. There we go. Almost done. Almost happy with how he's looking. There. All right, so again, you can just keep layering with these as much or as little color as you want, and the more often you go over it, then you'll get a darker tone as you go. And then I sometimes just kind of go over with my lightest shade just to blend the last little bits in. Okay, I'm happy with him. I'll move that off to the side, and we're going to now adhere him to the circle above. So we've got him layered, and now I'm going to put a little bit of glue around, not getting too close to that circle, but getting into the corners. And again, I'm choosing the white glue because it does provide a little bit of wiggle room. So I'm lining up the circle as best I can, and there I've got a nice framing around the outside. And now let's layer this up with some dimensionals. I've chosen to put quite a few dimensionals on there. Going back to my card base, I'm folding this with the bone folder with the ridge in the center, down the center. Just want to show you what I'm going to be gluing together here. So there's our card base. We are going to now undo the dimensionals, pop them on there, and we're going to be putting this inside the card, but we still want a circle. I want to cut through the card base itself. Okay, so before I adhere all of this down, I want to show you this little trick. I'm laying this into the center. I'm going to grab my pencil, and I'm just going to trace around the idea of where I want to cut that out. I'm going to layer that large die again. and pull back those two pieces of washi tape I used before. Again, I'm not pressing it in too much. And we're going to run this through my die cut emboss machine like so that it will just cut through that top layer. Make sure you verify that you've got your die in the right spot. This is just sitting here, but I can tell I've pretty much lined it up, and I can just see a little bit of that center in there, so I think I'm in the right spot. And we're ready for final assembly. So again, carefully prying off my washi tape, which is getting less sticky every time I use it, so that's perfect. There I've got my window, my layer with all of the dimensionals going right on top. Then we're going to glue this layer inside, and I'll go ahead and do that. I've removed the dimensional backings. I'm lining up my circle and pressing down the front piece, and now I can see the window all the way through my card, and I can see through to this, and this is where I would like my little adorable owl to show through. So I want to see where I'm going to put this glue. So again, I'm going to use the white glue of choice today, so I can come right to that edge. Again, it's giving me a bit of wiggle room. I can center my owl through the window here, just holding that in place because the white glue will wiggle a little tiny bit. And now, there we go. So cute. And we can now stamp on the inside. And here we have it. I've decorated the front by adding a few of our glossy dots here. And as you can see, there's our adorable owl peeking through. And as we open up the card, I've stamped the It's Your Day so that it's tucked in underneath. So there's one of our peekaboo cards. That was an adaptation showing the same designer paper with the Coastal Cabana or with the Balmy Blue. This time I had decided to do the It's Your Day 3 times as the sentiment, and inside I did our little owl. So the way I did that was I used my Stamparatus, popped the circle right onto the center of my Stamparatus, like so, and it's very easy, again, using the grids on here to line up your center. Popped it on here, used my It's Your Day, which I haven't cleaned properly. Pop it into the center and pick it up with your board, your acrylic plate. And then instead of using the hinge stamping, it wasn't big enough to do that. So then I just placed it above and below and stamped it the other times to achieve that look. All right. The other way, again, with your peekaboo type cards is you can have the character poking out of the center. And I hope that you will consider checking out my online store or my link tree, Stamping with Diane, to see what kinds of classes I have coming up. Some of them are virtual and some are in person in my studio in Innisfil, Ontario. So there you have it. Celebration is coming soon. If you do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd be happy to get you some of these items so that you can get these items for free in January. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.